Sarawak rakes in 13.1 billion ringgit revenue this year. Adverse weather warning for Kelantan and Terengganu. Hello, good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Sarawak recorded a revenue of 13.1 billion ringgit for 2023, the highest revenue performance ever achieved by the state, according to Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. He said he was informed about the latest figure by the State Financial Secretary last week. He said the state's achievement of 13.1 billion ringgit was because of Sarawak acquired some dividend coming in December, which is a record in terms of revenue. Moving along, he said, with revenue engineering that the state government is doing and the various laws that have been introduced recently, there's a possibility that the state's revenue will increase further. Met today, he hoped that in 2024 and 2025, Sarawak could see a further increase in revenue. On 2nd February, Tan Sri Abang Johari said Sarawak has recorded a revenue of 11.9 billion ringgit for 2022, surpassing its projected revenue of 10.2 billion ringgit by 17%. He said Sarawak's revenue comprised of four main categories, namely tax revenue, non-tax revenue, non-revenue receipts, and federal grants and reimbursements. The spirit of unity diversity is well exemplified in Sarawak, with people of various religious and racial backgrounds living in harmony and honouring each other, according to its Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. In his Christmas message, he said that it is a manifestation of the deep respect for the beliefs, customs and traditions among all Sarawakians.
Unity in diversity. People of different religious and racial backgrounds are also sharing in the fun and joy of Christmas as a manifestation of their deep respect for the beliefs, customs and tradition of their fellow Sarawakians. Tan
Sri Abang Johari said, in keeping with Sarawak's social inclusiveness, one of the most noble aims of the state government was to ensure that places of worship were properly maintained. Likewise, he said there were non-Muslim leaders who reciprocated when Muslims were a minority in a particular area. He said Sarawak's own Unit for Other Religions, had culminated in fostering unity and nurture understanding among people of various beliefs and races in Sarawak. It was set up to ensure that people of faiths other than Islam have a comfortable place to pray and worship. Now, in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Seri Haji Jino urged Sabahans to celebrate the festive period in unity. In the spirit of Christmas, he urged everyone to take a moment to reflect on the similarities that bind everyone together and to remain focused on strengthening these values. He said Sabahans should always uphold diversity in all faiths, regardless of their religions, beliefs and backgrounds, adding that this was in line with the state government's commitment to ensure unity, racial harmony and religious tolerance remain strong.
Marilah kita sama-sama menyambut perayaan ini dalam semangat yang akan membawa kemajuan dan kegembiraan. Saya amat berharap perayaan Krismas membawa keberkatan kepada saudara dan saudari dan bergembiralah di samping ahli keluarga, sahabat handai, rakan dan taulan. Namun janganlah kita melupakan mereka yang kurang bernasib baik dan yang memerlukan bantuan daripada kita. Selamat menyambut Hari Krismas dan Tahun Baharu 2024.
Datuk Seri Haji Ji said this in his Christmas message. The Chief Minister also advised the people to take precautionary measures given the current surge in COVID-19 cases. The Meteorological Department of Malaysia has issued a warning of continuous heavy rain of dangerous and bad levels in several areas in Kelantan and Terengganu until tomorrow. Met Malaysia, through a statement release, stated that the continuous heavy rain warning of danger level in Kelantan involves areas in Tumpat, Pasir Mas, Kota Baru, Jeli, Tanah Merah, Bachok, Machang, Pasir Putih and Kuala Krai. The warning of continuous heavy rain at a dangerous level in Terengganu involves areas in Besut, Setia and Hulu Terengganu. According to Met Malaysia, the severe rain warning in Kelantan involves the Gua Musang area, while in Terengganu it covers the areas of Kuala Nerus, Kuala Terengganu, Marang, Dungun and Kemaman. It also issued a warning of continuous rain for Kedah, covering Kubang Pasu, Kota Star, Pokok Sena, Padang Terap, Pendang, Sik and Baling, Hulu Perak in Perak, Jerantut, Kuantan, Pekan and Rompin in Pahang, and the whole of Perlis until tomorrow. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, or Maritime Malaysia, advises the public to always put safety first when engaging in sea activities during this festive season. Its Director General Admiral Maritime, Datuk Hamid Muhammad Amin, said that those planning to organise and participate in such activities should check the weather forecast issued by the Meteorological Department, especially considering the rough sea conditions due to the northeast monsoon. Elaborating further on the matter, through statement released, Datuk Hamid urged all parties heading to the sea to ensure their safety by wearing life jackets while sailing, fishing or engaging in any activities involving movement at sea. In addition to life jackets, the public engaging in sea activities is also advised to carry a personal locator beacon, as it can assist and expedite search and rescue efforts at sea in case of emergencies. He also advised tourist boat operators to comply with all established maritime regulations and laws, including ensuring the maximum passenger capacity and providing sufficient life jackets for all passengers. The public should contact the emergency hotline MERS 999 or the nearest State Maritime Operations Centre in the event of a maritime emergency for prompt action. Now, 4 men, including 2 Myanmar nationals, have faced anxious moments as they were trapped in a tree for over 4 hours when their residence in Gua Musang was inundated with floodwater earlier this morning. The victims, 2 elderly individuals aged 69 and 2 male foreign workers from Myanmar, could not escape to higher ground before being rescued at 5 a.m. Gua Musang Fire and Rescue Department, Noh Azizi Cik Noh, said they received the call around 7:31 a.m. and reached the location by 8:42 a.m. All 4 men were initially sleeping when their living quarters were swept away by the strong current of the river. Nur Azizi said that it took them nearly 45 minutes to assist evacuate and bring the individuals to a safer place. In a statement today, he said the early morning incident occurred in an area near a vegetable farm close to Jalan Gua Musang lodging in Pos Blau. He said the flood that occurred on the road also affected the vegetable farm where the victims were working, and the incident caused the road to be impassable from both directions. He advised to all residents, especially those living near rivers, is to always be vigilant and follow instructions from authorities. Parti Solidariti Tanah Airku STAR and Parti Bersatu Sabah PBS do not want to rush their merger process to ensure that it is carried out in an orderly manner and achieve the objective of strengthening the party's struggle of looking after Sabah people's interest. STAR President Datuk Seri Dr. Jeffrey Kitingan said the 2 parties are currently planning to join efforts, hold programs that can help the people in the state, just like the Christmas and New Year 2024 open house held today.
Kerjasama yang telah kita tunjukkan mempunyai potensi yang besar, kerana kalau kita boleh kerjasama dengan penganjuran ini, sudah tentunya banyak lagi kerjasama yang kita boleh buat di masa yang akan datang.
He said this to the reporters at the open house program, which was also attended by Yang di-Pertuan Negeri of Sabah, Tun Johar Mahiruddin. The Deputy Chief Minister once said such collaboration was important to ensure that the time, money and energy of both parties could be channeled to strengthen them and the Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS. Meanwhile, PBS Deputy President Datuk Jahid Jahim said the leaders and members wanted to see the two parties work together more closely.
Harapan kita ialah supaya kerjasama itu bertambah erat dan kesefahaman tentang intipati perjuangan itu jelas. Yang penting sekali ialah ada persefahaman yang jitu.
On 13 December, Secretaries General Datuk Julita Majungi PBS and Edward Lingustar said in a joint statement that the parties are expected to sign a memorandum of cooperation before Chinese New Year next year. Coming up, Melaka enhances cleanliness of entry points in preparation for Visit Melaka Year 2024. With a few days left until Visit Melaka Year 2024, TMM 2024, the Melaka government is focusing on efforts to ensure the cleanliness and beauty of 8 entry points in the state to welcome 18 million tourists and visitors. State Housing, Local Government Drainage, Climate Change and Disaster Management Committee Chairman Dato' Rais Yassin said the state government through local authorities was now actively enhancing the cleanliness, the beauty of the landscape, the lighting elements as well as signboards at every entry point. Dato' Rais said the beautification of work by the Hang Tuah Jaya Municipal Council MPHTJ included the Icro Toll Plaza Junction, Gebang Icro, Icro Toll Plaza to Melaka Mall, Lepak Station Icro, Sri Negeri Roundabout and MITC Roundabout.
Majlis Melaka Bandaraya Bersejarah berjaya membawa negeri Melaka ini sebagai salah satu bandar yang terbersih di peringkat antarabangsa. Manakala di peringkat MPHTJ, mereka telah pun diiktiraf sebagai bandar rendah karbon. Dia dapat Diamond Award. Di Jasin ini, mungkin ada kebanyakan kawasannya masih berada dalam keadaan luar bandar. Jadi mereka mendapat award untuk pasar awam yang terbersih. Alur Gajah juga sama. Dia fokusnya adalah kepada SDG. Mereka juga boleh ada menang anugerah SDG di peringkat antarabangsa.
Met recently, he said the Jasin Municipal Council MPJ allocated RM200,000 to improve the cleanliness and beauty of the landscape in the Jasin area, including at Lebur Alur Gajah Melaka Tengah Jasin AMJ entry points in Sungai Rambai, Johong, Asahan Jumentah and the Old Town of Sungai Rambai. The Alur Gajah Municipal Council MPAG is also in the process of enhancing the beauty of 4 more entry points which are located in the Alur Gajah district, namely Tebong, Pulau Sebang, Cerana Putih and Simpang Empat. He said the state government through the local authorities spent a total of RM11.272 million to upgrade lighting elements in preparation for TMM 2024. He noted that the upgrading work at the Melaka Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security ICQS complex entry point is to attract more tourists from Indonesia. An efficient and fair tax collection system is capable of creating economic balance. Therefore, the implementation of a 10% sales tax on low-value goods (LVG) starting from 1st January next year is seen as a way to improve the current tax collection system. Elaborating on the matter, Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist and Social Finance Head Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said that the sales tax imposed on online goods will help increase the government's revenue.
Dan kita sedia maklum platform-platform media sosial dan sebagainya merupakan satu platform yang tak dapat kita elakkan, yang akan sentiasa digunakan. Maka kalau tiada cukai, maka mungkin wujud satu bentuk orang kata ketidakseimbangan bagaimana perkhidmatan yang diberi dan cukai yang sepatutnya dibayar.
Previously, the Finance Ministry said the sales tax on LVG was to ensure that the implementation of legislation would meet its objective, which is to address the tax treatment disparity between goods sold by retail businesses and online businesses. This would then enable a level playing field for businesses in Malaysia, especially micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. Now, crude oil prices declined today during thin Christmas trade amid questions about unity among OPEC Plus producers and concerns on Red Sea trading routes due to attack from the Yemeni group. The international benchmark crude Brent traded at $78.80 per barrel, a 0.45% decrease from the closing price of $79.16 a barrel in the previous trading session on Friday. The American benchmark West Texas Intermediate WTI traded at the same time at $73.49 per barrel, down 0.54% from Friday's close of $73.89 per barrel. Last week, both benchmarks gained more than $3 on average, with rising tensions in West Asia and transport bottlenecks at the Red Sea raising supply concerns. In response to Israel's attacks on the blockaded Gaza Strip, the Yemeni group declared that any Israeli flagship would be targeted. The Red Sea is one of the most important trading routes in the world, as approximately 12% of global trade passes through the Suez Canal. Following the British energy company BP's announcement that it would stop all tanker traffic in the Red Sea, concerns were raised that seaborne deliveries, which have so far mostly affected the transportation of goods, could expand to energy shipments. Experts says the prolonged inability of the Suez to operate may pose economic threats for regional countries such as Egypt, whose economy is already fragile. TNB Global Business Solutions (TGBS), Tenaga Nasional Berhad's TNB shared service provider, has recently secured the Gold Award for the Best Shared Services Team in the Asian region and the recent Shared Services and Outsourcing Network (SSON) Impact Awards 2023 held in Singapore, marking its second consecutive win after winning the award in 2022. Commenting further on the matter through a statement released recently, TNB said TGBS also secured its position in the categories of the top 20 most admired share services organizations (SSO) and Global Business Services (GBS) globally for the second consecutive year. In addition to these accolades, TGBS was honoured with the Bronze Change Management Impact Award and the Customer Centricity Impact Award, showcasing TNB's commitment to excellence in change management and customer-centric practices. TNB President and Chief Executive Officer Datuk Seri Baharudin meanwhile said that these awards reinforce TNB's commitment to sustainable development and its environmental, social and governance ESG agenda. He expressed confidence that these achievements will inspire TGBS to continuously elevate its service offerings, fostering external partnerships and internal efficiency. In our foreign segment, tens of thousands affected as flood hits Thailand's south. At least 166 Palestinians killed, 384 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza in the last 24 hours. Israeli forces also continue to sustain losses, with more than a dozen troops killed in the heavy fighting over the weekend. Israeli airstrikes killed at least 78 people in central Gaza, Palestinian health officials said, in one of the besieged enclave's deadliest nights of Israel's 11-week-old battle with Hamas. Strikes that began hours before midnight persisted into Christmas Day on Monday. Residents and Palestinian media said Israel stepped up air and ground shelling against Al-Bureij in central Gaza. Health Ministry spokesperson Ashraf Al-Qidra said at least 70 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike targeting Maghazi in central Gaza, adding that many women and children. The Israeli army claimed it was reviewing the report of Maghazi incident as Hamas denies the Israeli charge that it operates in densely populated areas or uses civilians as human shields. Aid groups and United Nations agencies also said that Israeli bombardments make implementing the UN Security Council humanitarian aid resolution near impossible. Now, floods caused by intense rainfall have affected tens of thousands of people in Thailand's deep south, officials said today, with some roads and railway lines forced to close. At least dozens of schools in the provinces of Yala and Narathiwat have been forced to close, while footage from the region showed homes and shops inundated with murky brown waters and residents taking refuge on the upper floors. Cars were also partially submerged on the streets after intense rainfalls caused floods. The heavy rains also caused problems at the sea, with at least 7 boats sunk in the Gulf of Thailand and Andaman Sea since Friday. The kingdom's state railway company said track subsidence meant that trains heading south to the Malaysian border were stopping at Yala, 100 kilometers away. Authorities have warned residents in the provinces to be ready to evacuate if the floods get worse. A plane carrying more than 300 Indian passengers that has been detained at an airport in France since Thursday has been cleared to leave after a probe into human trafficking claims. French prosecutors on Sunday gave the green light for the plane to leave Vatry Airport, located 150 kilometers east of Paris, after questioning passengers for 2 days about allegations they may be victims of human trafficking. The Airbus A340 is expected to leave on Monday after the French Civil Aviation Authority secures final approval for departure, with a lawyer for Romania-based Legend Airlines saying most of the stranded passengers would be returning to India. 2 passengers have been detained since Friday as authorities investigate whether they travelled with a different purpose than the other passengers and under what conditions and with what objectives. According to local government, several other passengers have requested asylum in France. After police grounded the aircraft, authorities turned the airport into a makeshift courtroom as judges, lawyers and translators filled the terminal to conduct emergency hearings to determine whether the passengers could be held any longer. The Indian Embassy in Paris said that consular staff were working with French authorities for an early resolution of the situation. Thousands of migrants arrived on Sunday in the southern Mexican town Alvaro Obregón to spend the Christmas Eve in a public square without shelter before making their way north to cross the country and reach the border with the U.S. On Sunday, the group of mostly Central American and Caribbean migrants had walked 15 kilometers from the southern border city, Tapachula, to get to Alvaro Obregón, with plans to set off again around 4 a.m. in the next day. Migrant rights activist Luis Garcia Villagran urged that migrants must not become political bargaining chips in the upcoming presidential election in the U.S., where migrants were heading. Local authorities estimated the size of the caravan to average about 8,000 people per day. Witnesses traveling in the group said most migrants were from Central and South America, but also the Caribbean. Some of the migrants said they had left their home country because of rampant crime and corruption and because they wanted to provide for their children. In 2018 and 2019, large caravan, mostly comprised of Central Americans, crossed Mexico to reach the U.S. Last year, record numbers of migrants attempted to cross the U.S.-Mexico border illegally. Coming up in sports, Wolves inflict Christmas misery on Chelsea. Though happy that the national under-23 team beat China 1-0 in a football friendly on Saturday, coach Juan Torres Garrido is looking at Malaysia's weaknesses. Spaniard Garrido is concerned with Malaysia's struggles to reach the opponent's box, and he will need to sort it out before they play the Dragons again tomorrow.
We will review the game, we will check everything like we usually do, and we try to keep improving a bit more maybe on the attacking side, reaching more times the opposite box, and overall remaining a bit more compact generally. But I think after watching the game on video, we will know what specifically can or must work from the next days.
Garrido also said that when his Chargers play against the same team twice, it becomes tough because there's emotion involved. Meanwhile, team captain Mukhairi Ajmal Mahadi said the players have adjusted well to the freezing conditions in China, and all of them are in high spirits despite the cold weather. Wolverhampton Wanderers continued their stellar home form with a 2-1 win over Chelsea in the Premier League last night, thanks to second-half strikes from Mario Almina and Matt Doherty. Lemida headed in Pablo Sarabia corner 6 minutes after half-time to give Wolves the lead before Doherty secured the win for Wolves with a second goal in added time. Christopher Nkuku netted a consolation goal for Chelsea, his first for the London club since his close season move, but Mauricio Pochettino's side could not find an equaliser as they fell to their 8th league defeat of the season. The victory moved Wolves up to 11th level with the 10th place Chelsea on 22 points, but trailing the London side on goal difference. NAO's chairman Jim Ratcliffe has become a minority shareholder in Manchester United, buying 25% stake for $33 per share. This was confirmed by the Premier League Football Club following a bidding process that lasted more than 12 months. Qatar's Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani was also looking to buy the club, but dropped out of the process, saying he would not be raising his $6 billion offer, leaving the British billionaire to strike a deal with the owners, the Glazer family. Ratcliffe's Ineos will also take on the management of Manchester United's soccer operations and invest $300 million in the club. Manchester United in a statement said that as part of the transaction, Ineos has accepted a request by the board to be delegated responsibility for the management of the club's football operations. This will include all aspects of the men's and women's football operations and academies, alongside 2 seats on the Manchester United PLC board and the Manchester United Football Club boards. Ratcliffe's Ineos also owns French Ligue 1 club Nice, Swiss Super League side FC Lausanne Sport, and works with Racing Club Abidjan of Ivory Coast League 1. It is also behind the Grenadiers, one of the world's most successful cycling teams. Alright, so that concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Sarawak's revenue hits a record high of 13.1 billion ringgit for 2023. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. From river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Merry Christmas and happy holiday.